Without further ado, I would like to welcome here on the stage Sampo Sammalisto from Business Finland. Sampo, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Otto, and welcome back from lunch. From my side, my name is Sampo Sammalisto from Business Finland, and I work in our EU collaboration team, where our main goal is to help Finnish companies and other organizations to receive EU funding for their RDI. I'm also the NCP for the health cluster in Horizon Europe, as well as the state representative for IHI, the Innovative Health Initiative. So if those are relevant for you, feel free to contact me anytime. I'm sure a lot of you already know quite a bit about EU funding, but I still feel necessary to go over a couple of basics why EU has decided to fund our, research and innovation. Obviously, for boosting economic growth and competitiveness, we are competing with all the other nations, economically speaking. On the other hand, solving societal issues such as aging is one of the key motivators for funding RDI. Also, we are in a constant race in terms of science and technology with, for example, US, China, a lot of other countries. So we need some public funding to stay ahead of the game. Also, EU is still quite splintered in many ways. So EU tries to improve collaboration and integration between member states, and there's a bunch of instruments aiming specifically for that. How many of you have applied for EU funding or are familiar with it? Raise your hands. Okay, quite a good number. For those of you who are not already in the game, I want to encourage you to apply for EU funding. Because in our view, it is the best way to de-risk your projects in terms of RDI funding. But funding is only one reason, and it shouldn't be the main driver for applying for EU funding. It is the possibility to network with the best researchers and the best companies in your space. Also, a lot of companies have demonstrated how useful it is to building trust with potential new customers, partners. Also, since we're in a heavily regulated area, a lot of times these collaborative projects build the foundations for new standards. So if you want to influence the way those standards are built, joining EU projects is a great way to do that. We are all competing with other players, whether we are researchers or companies. So this is one of the venues where you can keep up with the competition and get ahead. One caveat is that, especially when you're dealing with the consortia projects, they are very take a lot of work in terms of preparation and execution. So we usually advise our customers to be also very critical on which projects and consortia to join. They must have very, very good alignment with your long-term RDI goals. These slides I will skip through very quickly, but if you are not deeply familiar with TRL, technology readiness levels already, I encourage you to do so, because all EU funding instruments are aimed at specific TRL levels in the beginning, and they aim to achieve a certain level. So acquaint yourself intimately with these before applying for any instruments. It is a very general scale, and for example, if you're in pharmaceutical development, these are the ways they relate to specific stages of drug development. You will receive these materials later with the links, so you can read them through. I just want to encourage you to familiarize yourself with them. Horizon Europe is the main RDI funding instrument in the current framework program, and it is divided into 3 pillars, where the first pillar basically relates to TRL levels 1 to 3, which is basic research. The majority of the funding, as you can see, more than 50%, is aimed at collaborative research, meaning applied research, TRL levels 4 to 6. So that's where we're talking about large consortia, typically more than 10 partners in the health space, and they are always multinational. And the more industrial RDI, the pillar 3, is also a key whenever we want to bring innovation to the market. So obviously, Horizon Europe also provides funding for that. There's 3 key different funding instrument types in all clusters, but specifically the health cluster. We have the research and innovation activities with the highest, with a high funding rate, and those are typically at the lower end of the TRL spectrum. Whereas the innovation actions, where there's an innovation close to the market, the funding rate is obviously a bit lower. And there are also these coordination and support actions, which are typically some sort of integrative projects, collaborative projects, where there are different types of opportunities. But if you're not familiar with these, I suggest you read up a bit more on these as well. So just a couple of practical tips, and there's a bunch of links for you to look at later. So if you are, especially if you're a beginner, contact your NCPs whenever you're interested in any type of EU instrument. So for example, in the health space, you can contact me. There's obviously the official funding and tenders portal from the European Commission that has all the calls, et cetera, but it's not the most user-friendly, so that's why if you're in the health space, I provided a link there for you that's from our NCP project that is a bit more useful, or let's say user-friendly. One new thing is that the draft of the upcoming work program is publicly available, which it hadn't used to be previously, so there's a link for that as well. Also, be active in networking, joining all kinds of information events, also in the partnerships, for example, IHI and EP Permed. We also try to disseminate this information as much as possible using our health and well-being newsletter, and there's a link there for you as well in the material that you'll receive later on. So that's all from me today. There's my contact information, and I also have 2 NCP colleagues in the health cluster that are at the Academy of Finland, so you can also contact them if you're more academically inclined. Thank you.